Je vais parler en anglais. Hein. Donc je laisse Patrick modérer. Good afternoon, Dan. I'm very happy to have Amazon here because it's first very rare, and second thing that it's Q4. So it's very delighted to have you, and hello Marc-Antoine from Philips. So a lot of people know about Amazon, obviously, but they don't know what you're doing in advertising. Can you briefly tell me what you're doing in terms of advertising solutions?
Sure. By the way, thank you all for enduring my English, and thank you for speaking in English. So about advertising and Amazon, I think the thing that I would like to leave you all with is to think about Amazon as a marketing platform. If I ask most of the people in the room, or if I ask all of you one word to describe Amazon, I think most of you would say e-commerce. But if you take the buy button off the website, what you have is one of the largest aggregations of product-related content in the world. And it comes in three forms. It comes in the form of user-generated content, obviously, through ratings and reviews. It comes in the form of really detailed specification content that's provided by partners like Philips. And it comes in the form of editorial content, which we write or we create, and we have our own studio to make video, et cetera. So content is one of the marketing platform. The second, I would say, is customer experience. So again, when we think about digital advertising, most people think about banners and video and links. And the customer touch points that we have, or the interaction we have, is quite different. So we have, of course, we have banners and links and video, but we send boxes to people that they can receive that have messaging on them or in them. We have devices. We have a number of different ways that we touch customers that is unique to distribute the content that I described. And then the third is insights. Right, so data in and of itself is not inherently valuable, but what you do with that data and the insights you glean from that is really useful. And so we observe billions of purchase behaviors or shopping behaviors, and can glean very interesting insights about customers and what's important to them.
We'll discuss later about purchasing behaviors and intentions data. So Marc-Antoine, why did you choose to go with Amazon, and what are you doing with them in terms of advertising your whole big range of products, I heard?
Yeah, so I fully recognize what Dan is saying. So first of all, what we try to do is to maximize our visibility on the Amazon website itself, but also to the advertising platform of Amazon, the AAP platform, which is really powerful. And what we try to develop is a campaign both on hero products. So here you can see, for instance, the latest Senseo, where we try to maximize on the right-hand side. You can see that this latest limited edition for Christmas gets a direct link to the detail page of the product. So we are sure we maximize also the conversion for the consumers. But also what is good with the Amazon Media Group is that we can also build some product range pages, like in the middle of the screen, where you can choose your colors, choose your model. So this is really very useful for us. And what changed a lot in the last years is that we could be both on desktop, but also on the mobile version of the websites. And for instance, when you look at Avent, our baby care brand for moms and for the comfort of babies, it's about breast pumps, it's about baby bottles. Here you can see that we just have different ways to maximize the purchase of the consumers. And we have some landing page with up to 7 subcategories with a lot of products. So you thought about changing the teats for the baby, but you will have ideas about how to make your own meal with, for instance, a food processor for babies, but also maybe buying a baby phone. So this versatility for us is really powerful in order to address the right segments.
Can you share, Marc-Antoine, a few results of your campaigns?
Yeah, it depends on the way you measure it. First, from a media perspective, for us it's very important first to build awareness of the products. In the funnel also to go towards more consideration versus competition. and for sure we try to maximize the conversion.
And back to Dan, I heard that you have a very, very precious data. So how do you leverage this data for your advertiser? I mean, you've got one of the best data in the world, like the purchasing data. So what can I do with you?
Well, I would submit that we start with the campaign objectives. They vary by campaign, by advertiser, by product. But of course, we can look at customer behavior. That's what many of our advertisers are most interested in. If you think about, I'll take an example that not too long ago about cameras. So a bit different from Philips, but there was a company selling very high-end cameras, and they thought that their customer base would be technophiles, early adopters, people really interested in expensive technology. So we began the campaign, and what we discovered is the audiences responding most were moms, mothers. And as you think about it, it begins to make sense. New mothers or mothers with children, they want to take pictures, and they want the pictures to be really good. And so what do you do with that? What do you do with that information? And what's interesting about the insights, to your point about what can you do with it, is it's pretty broad. So if you discover that this product that you built for technophiles, for high-end technology enthusiasts, and your customer ends up being moms, do you change the way you develop your product? Do you change your messaging? Do you change your marketing? Do you go to market differently? The answer conceivably is yes to all those questions. So it's a very important strategic decision that is enabled by the kinds of insights and data that we can provide.
That's a very nice answer. There is a question I have to ask. Forgive me about this, Dan, but is advertising a better business for Amazon than e-commerce in terms of margin?
Well, I'm not going to comment on the specifics of the margin, but what I will say is that the value that advertising brings to retail and to the other consumer aspects of our business is that it certainly generates investment opportunities for us. So there are a couple of ways in which we think about it. One is, how can we improve the consumer experience with advertising? You know, there's this track that says, well, advertising's annoying and I don't want to see ads and what have you. And at Amazon, we start with the customer and work backwards. You may have heard this before, we're customer obsessed. So in the advertising business, we seek to create experiences that are more valuable to consumers than if they did not have the advertising. And so it's about discovery and relevance and personalization. And then what we make from that, whatever money that Amazon makes from that, we can reinvest in the customer experience and in innovation in general. Amazon seeks to continue to innovate. We focus on ways to make, again, the customer experience better through innovation, and that's how if you will, the flywheel works for us.
Okay, I have a last question for you both. So for Philips, maybe what are your next projects with Amazon? If you can share a little bit what you plan to do the next few months.
Yes, so we are entering now the biggest months of the year for us. So I think we are also loading the warehouses with a lot of products. We need now to activate the conversion. And first, what is key for the end of the year is really to improve recruitment of new users, but also to develop cross-sell categories. And this is very possible via the data we see in terms of increasing the consumer base. So if you look at the screen, you can see a graph where you see on the right-hand side the increase of consumer base. It's multiplied by 4.6 in 3 quarters, so it's very impressive. On the bubble chart, you can see that the campaign has a direct effect on the products we are advertising, but also on the range and the brand. But more importantly, we know there is a big halo effect on the offline business. So it's still something where we are very curious to know the latest news from Amazon. But for us, we clearly see as most of the consumers are purchasing first or looking at information online, Amazon for us is one of the best search engines for that. And so we try to get them converted within the site, but also maximizing the halo effect outside the site too.
And then what is Father Christmas bringing in terms of new advertising products at Amazon?
we have a long standing tradition of not sharing future product concepts.
I knew
But,
it. I knew it.
sorry to not break the news.
I love surprises.
But I will say one thing just on innovation, which I think is important. And I heard a question, and my French is not terrific, but I heard a question in an earlier session about, what is the future? What's the next big thing is a question that I often get. And one thing I learned coming to Amazon, and I come from a background of many startups. I did 5 different technology and marketing startups in my career, all of them acquired at various stages of their development. And during the first part of that, I tried to focus on, with my partners, what's the next big thing? How do we develop something that's going to be the next big thing or participate in the next big wave? And I learned that we were asking the wrong question, right? What we do at Amazon is we focus on things that will never change and invent against those. So customers will always want low prices. They'll always want convenience. And if we invent against those things, what we're building is sustainable value over the long term. So when we think about advertising, it's the same. We think about companies like Philips as a customer, and how can we make things that they will value over the long term better in terms of understanding their customers better, in terms of communicating with customers more effectively, in terms of generating more value from their marketing campaigns. And if we continue to innovate on those dimensions as it marries with the customer or the consumer behavior, then we think we'll be delivering and developing lasting value.
Very true. Invest in things that don't change. Important as well. I wish you both a good Q4.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Cheers.